9/11. That week I was in Singapore teaching with a group from One Way Street with Dale Von Sagan, Todd Liebenow, Kurt, Christy, Dave, the Donut Man, and others. And it was a full week being jet-lagged and teaching and performing and spending time with new friends and sightseeing and all that. And it was an exhausting week, but it was an incredible week in Singapore. On September 11th, I got up early in the morning, made it to the airport, flew from there to Japan, had a layover in Tokyo, took off from there, was flying over the Pacific Ocean. And at that point in time, actually the flight was not very full, and so we kind of spread out. It was nice. I could actually lay down across some of the seats. And I woke up and I sat up, and an announcement came on the loudspeaker. And they said this. They said, "We've had a medical emergency on our plane, and so we are going to be landing. Please put on your seatbelts, and we need to help take care of this medical emergency." So I was like, well, whatever, okay. This is a little strange to me because I put on the seatbelt, and within about a minute, the plane landed. And I thought, whoa, how do you do that from 38,000 feet? I mean, I just didn't know what was happening there. And so we landed on this runway and came down to the end of the runway, and they powered down the engines, and the plane sat still. And I thought, hold on, what is the ambulance gonna drive out to the end of the runway here? What's going on with this? And then the pilot came on and said there had been terrorist activity on the east coast of the United States, so U.S. airspace was closed. And so we are now in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we will be deboarding here. Okay. So we taxied to the gate, and a stewardess came by. And I just said, can I just leave my luggage on here, my carry-on stuff? Because I'm thinking, well, we'll just get off for an hour or two and then get back on the plane and finish flying that leg to Chicago, and then I had another flight from Chicago to Green Bay, where I was living at the time. And the stewardess just looked at me and just said, "Oh no, this flight is officially over." And she turned and walked away. Look, what? Hold on. Oh, time out. I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada. What's well, we deboarded, and when we started getting off, they were like, "Move, move, 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 move," and they ran us. I mean, through till we got to the baggage claim area. Now, the baggage claim area at Calgary Airport is not large, and they made a decision that they would X-ray every piece of luggage that came off every plane that they had landed there. There were 27 international flights that had been landed at the Calgary Airport. They stuffed us all into the baggage claim area. And since they decided to X-ray every piece of luggage, they only had one X-ray machine that was working. I stood for 4.5 hours in baggage claim with people. I mean, basically we're bumping into each other, and we still don't know what is going on. There was a man from Japan that was there, and he had a newspaper. I don't know how he got it, but on the front page was the picture of an airplane going into the World Trade Center. He was on his telephone. He had a cell phone. This is 20 years ago. I didn't have a cell phone. And he got off the cell phone, and he just saw me and it asked if I wanted to use it. I took it. I immediately called my wife because they knew I was flying back. And so I was able to let her know that, yes, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. And I'm in Calgary, Alberta. I'll call when I have a chance. I finally got my luggage, and on the way out, there were people from the Calgary area that were walking through the airport saying, "Oh, do you need a place to stay? You can come stay at our home." I was like, no, it's okay. United Airlines gave me a voucher to a hotel. I'm going to be okay. But thank you. Thank you, Canadian friends. Thank you. I was already tired. I was jet lagged. Had just gone through this whole week, and now I have this hitting. And anyway, other friends on the team, Dave, Christy, Watkins, we were on the same plane. They knew something was happening. Dave was a pilot, so he knew that they had slowed down and we were just in a holding pattern. And Christy was a nurse, and she thought nobody ever came on the plane and asked, is there medical personnel on the plane that can help us? So they knew something was happening. Well, they got in a taxi right in front of me. We had all of our luggage, equipment, props, tools with us, costumes. And so we had to take a separate taxi, but we were going to the same hotel. We got to the hotel. They checked in, and I was right behind him, and I stepped up and I said, "Here's a voucher." And they said, "I'm sorry, we're full." Well, no, here's a voucher. I'm sorry, all of our rooms are full. I said, "Hey, Dave, Christy." and they turned around and I said, "They don't have a room for me." So Dave and Christy just said, "He's with us." There were 2 beds in our room, and so they let me have one. We stayed there. This was Monday. We didn't fly out until Friday morning. Every day we'd go back to the airport hoping that U.S. airspace had opened up. And we're hoping that we'd be able to take off, and then they'd say, "No, here's another voucher, go back to your hotel." On the second or third day, they started just saying, "We'll call the hotels and let you know if you can fly." So we were able to recuperate some, but it was still really, of course, a strange time as we now sat and watched the replay on the television over and over and over and over and over. And now I'm wondering, okay, do I get a rent-a-car from Calgary and drive? But the United States border is still closed. They're still probably not going to let me in. All we can do is wait it out. Finally, Friday came. We went to the airport, and at the airport, we stood in line, all these people trying to fly. And I pulled out a deck of cards, and I started doing some magic tricks, some close-up magic, entertaining people in the line. And this one guy looks at me and goes, "Hold it. We've stood here for 5 days, and you're just breaking it out now?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was jet lagged. I was tired." I got through to the place where I needed to check through the baggage. Now they're x-raying everything again, and they've just now hired all these new TSA security people. And they got my trunk up there, and they went through the x-ray, but they're still going to hand search everything. And put up the trunk, and they said, "Is this yours?" I said, "Yes." And then you need to know, I am a clown. And they were like, "Yeah, no, I mean, red nose, big feet, crazy hair, rubber chickens. I'm a clown." They're like, "Okay." Now, you see, so what do you have in here? I said, "I got all kinds of clown stuff and a week's worth of sweaty laundry." Hadn't even thought about the fact I hadn't opened that trunk for 5 days. They clicked it open, and the supervisor opened it up, and he went, and he looked at this young lady that had just been hired, and so she had to step up, put on her rubber gloves, and started picking up stuff and moving things around. And I said, "Do you want me to move that?" And she said, "Yeah, if you would," and I did that. So I got through, made it to the gate, did a little comedy mime performance, street performance right there for the people. We got on the plane. We're sitting there, we're buckled in, we're waiting. They start firing up the engines. Oh, the anticipation. I'm going to get to go home. You know, I felt a little bit like a refugee. It's like, you know, that's my home. And they say I can't go there. And we're sitting there and the anticipation is building. And when the plane took off, there was this cheer and applause and this sigh of relief. We flew off to Chicago. We would arrive at night, 10 o'clock at night or so. When we landed in Chicago, once again, it's like, yes, we made it. I also realized this, that hijacking on an airplane with Americans on board will never happen again. Because there is a new determination that says we're not letting somebody take us down. We landed in Chicago. And I could hear that the door of the plane had been open, and I could hear cheering, like off in the distance. I thought, how awesome is this? Some CEO just landed, you know, and his company is there to greet him. And as I walk through the plane, the cheering keeps happening, and I walk up the tarmac, and the cheering keeps happening, and I step out onto the carpet at Chicago O'Hare. There's about 250 people around cheering, USA, USA, welcome home, welcome home. And I tell you, my knees went to jelly, and I almost fell down and kissed Chicago O'Hare carpet. But I was like, yes, I'm home. And I walked through Chicago O'Hare, and it was so surreal because we were the only gate that was open. And I walked through an entire terminal, and I went down underneath, and I went through the underground walkway, and all the way over to baggage claim, and in that entire distance, I maybe saw 5 people. I walked up and got my luggage. Budget rent-a-car had a sign, we have cars. I walked up, I said, I need a car. And he said, we got one for you. I said, I'm not bringing it back. And they said, that's fine. And I got a rent-a-car for $80. Thank you, Budget Rent-A-Car, for not trying to take advantage of people at that point in time. And I got in that car because there's no way they were going to fly a plane to Green Bay. But I got in that car, and it should be about a 3.5, 4-hour trip, but I probably made it a little faster. And I was able to be in the arms of my family. God is faithful. He will see us through. We can have hope even when things look dark. Proud to be an American.